And welcome back to the 40th episode of the Not So Perfect podcast.
4-0. We're here.
How's it reading on the camera?
made it.
4-0, 4-0. Yeah, this is Matt Chin,
Whichever one that makes sense to 40.
Gerardo Cornejo. Welcome to our 40th podcast.
Happy to be here, guys. Sorry we missed you guys last week. We knew we had a big one coming up with the big 40th episode.
This was going to be the most important one.
Yeah, if we would have done one last week, we would have had to mail it in because G was cashing checks and snapping necks in the real estate market.
It's been it's busy season. So,
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Other real estate agents in this morning working hard, saying they got a lot of stuff. Good time of year to be in
other
the real
realtors
estate
in my
business.
building.
Yep, I send them
We'll
right
get
through
names later.
I send them right through your office. I give them your passwords and Wi-Fi codes. No, I'm just kidding. Nope, they're big supporters of the Cornejo group, so they're working alongside and not against. Which
We work with everybody.
yes, yep, you get there's plenty to go around. You just gotta look at life that way, as opposed to trying to hoard everything for yourself or for individuals. There's plenty to go around.
Competition here, competition there. The only competition is this thing in
One
here.
that really matters.
This
The only
thing
one that
in
really
here.
matters. So let's give us a recap of last week.
Oh my! I don't even know what I did yesterday.
I know.
Been busy with family, baseball. Oh, it's officially summer,
Yeah.
and it feels good outside. It's amazing how early in the morning the sun is out and bright.
Love it.
So it's hopefully if the time changes don't change. I mean, it could go into consistency, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Speaking of consistency and 40th, for two dudes to get together and do 40 podcasts is something that I would have never thought of 2 years ago.
Yeah. And how long we've been doing this now?
It was like our first episode was like October of 24, I think, which was right over there or
yeah.
in the building
Yeah,
somewhere.
that's right. We were tinkering around with
Just
what we wanted to
testing,
do.
and this is what I wanted to bring up for this podcast is communicating this with you and opening up and talking about this has helped me tremendously because go to a wedding. I went to a wedding. There was no alcohol. We had a great time. My family danced. I drove home.
Now, I'm
we
pretty
remember
sure
everything.
there is written in stone somewhere. You cannot be at a wedding and have fun.
A Missouri wedding for
Without
sure.
alcohol,
The
right?
11th commandment
I read
says
that somewhere.
Missouri weddings prepare for alcohol.
I read that
But it
somewhere.
was nice. My family was there. The couple that got married, a perfect night. It rained on us. And then also another topic or another reason why this has helped is been playing golf lately. And what is golf usually?
Whiskey and beer.
12 pack, cold. And don't get me wrong, it's awesome being out there with the buddies drinking. But the last two times I golfed, no alcohol and just water. And like, I'm trying to really learn this ridiculous game of golf.
Good luck.
That it's the hardest thing you're ever going to do.
Good luck.
Compared, yeah. You want to test yourself, try to learning golf.
Yeah.
That'd be the ultimate test.
Yeah.
My buddy's like, it's the hardest sport. The ball is just right there. It's not this big. It's not coming at you. You're not shooting it through anything. It's just a ball that's just sitting there. So I think Arnold Palmer said the toughest part of the game is what's happening in between
your
the
ears.
4 inches right here, 4,
Yep.
6 inches, however big your noggin is.
Yeah.
But discussing this, talking this over has helped me a lot, which hopefully translates to people that have watched the podcast. Talk about it daily, weekly, especially weekly with us, but daily for you guys. Not you guys, or daily for whatever level of stuff you're going through.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's different for everybody. It's not a cookie cutter thing for, what works for you is going to work for everybody. You got to pick and choose, so that means trying some things out, failing at some things, seeing some things that don't work for you, and just eliminating those and figuring out some more things that do work. But yeah, I mean, all my years of playing golf, which I haven't swung a golf club in, I don't even know how many years, but it's been a long time.
This is the golf episode.
Yeah. So, but the same thing you were talking about. It'd all be focused around how many beers we get and how many beers we need to have done by ninth hole, how many beers we're going to need to get, after the ninth hole or whatever it is. And, the first 5, 6 holes would usually be fine. And then after that, it would just turn into a big old shit show. And then, the purpose of either A, winning or trying to do good for yourself or just whatever, that all goes out the window because by the end of it, you're trying to remember what hole you left your putter on. You know what I mean? Like now you're backtracking 12 holes to try and find a putter you lost. You know what I mean? So for me, it's one of those things where like it would go from bad to worse throughout the 18 holes or 9 holes or whatever it was. So, it's just nice hearing you talk about that and being able to, when you're not drinking, you can stay focused on, you're, making sure you're not pulling your head back too far when you're in your backswinger. You can actually focus on golf, which is the purpose, which is what brought you all there. And you can actually focus on getting better at golf as opposed to, you get 6 beers in, then you just start pissing everywhere and you're just not worried about golf and it's just about having fun, which
balls just flying everywhere.
Yeah. So, it's nice to hear because there is more to any of these things. If it's always associated around alcohol or booze, now you can see where like a professional golfer, you can see how that person gets good by, ask a professional golfer, how often are you getting fucked up while you're playing practice rounds? Like, excuse me? It's like me, that'd be like me saying, hey, Gerardo, how many beers do you have before you close a house? You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm at work, so I don't because I'm not drinking at work because I just don't need to. Like, I don't know, it just kind of puts it in a different light from how most people look at things. But yeah, so nice to hear your golf outings are sounds like more productive than any of mine have ever been.
It's different. And then thank you to the viewers because now they're holding me accountable. I don't know if some of your audience, I went after golf. We went to High Street Pub.
There you go.
Went with the buddies. All right, let's go have a lunchbox.
Yeah, got to.
After golf.
Got to.
And it was a great day, good buddies hanging out. And I posted a picture of a shot that a buddy of ours bought. And immediately I got a response from one of our audience watchers, viewers, subscribers.
Audience members.
Do not drink and drive. Remember what Stacy told you? I was like, okay, I'm being watched or I'm being held accountable.
You got a community around you, whether you know it or not. And that was a big thing
there
for
it
me.
is.
Whenever I got sober, I was just trying to keep it between the mayo and the mustard, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I was just focused on staying the path, walking the path, and trying not to deviate from the path. There'd be times where there'd be tests throughout the way, and those tests would let me know where I was at. Well, I'm not where I need to be at because I lost my shit on this person for no real good reason, or I was just kind of anxious and worked up and, this and that. We were busy at work and this, and I just kind of jumped up on somebody's ass over nothing, So definitely those little check marks, you got to just check in with yourself and see where you're at, but just the progress that carries with it. 6 months after I was sober, one of my best friends wound up getting sober as well, going to rehab, doing all the things. And come to find out, I was a big part of that reason. I didn't know that, but he was watching. I didn't know he was watching. But again, there's people watching all the time, whether it be your kids, whether it be coworkers, or just people in the community, For me, I'd imagine it'd be similar like if I was out at a restaurant here in town and someone that listens to the podcast saw what I was posting on Facebook about my twice baked potatoes and all the stuff that you shouldn't eat, and that's on my plate. What kind of an example am I setting for those people? So it's just, you'll find those little tests throughout, but I mean, there's always somebody watching,
And I like that point.
So to think that there's not anybody watching or nobody cares about you or, wherever your headspace is right now, because I was so focused on me doing good, finally, consistently, over and over, day after day, instead of just up, down. By noon, I'm great. By midnight, I'm screwed up. You know what I mean? Or I'm messed up or drunk or whatever it was. So again, it's just a matter of instead of being in these highs and lows every day, it would be less, and then it would get to more of just a steady waves. Not those tidal waves, not the tsunami waves, but something that's more manageable. And life is just so much easier that way. But yeah. There's people always out there watching. So if you're talking the talk, you better walk the walk because someone's going to be calling you out on your bullshit.
Hardest thing to do.
And for me today, I want nothing more than people to hold me accountable for the words that come out of my mouth, the actions that I put behind those words, because that's a true test of who you are. Not the talking, not the promises, not the swears, None of that. It's what you can actually put into physical work, So for me, it was just one of those things that I just had to stay focused, keep doing the next right thing, keep doing the next right thing. And then eventually, you find out, you're the reason why I wound up getting sober. Like, excuse me, what? Like, we never had this conversation. It's like, I didn't need to. I just watched you. I saw you smiling. I saw you happy. Like, I got to that point where I didn't have that anymore and I wanted it, and I saw that you had it. So if you did it, I can do it too. So I went to rehab, and next thing you know, we're both sober and we're both running marathons and we're both doing shit that I never would have guessed we would be doing, So
Life
the
changing.
proof's in the pudding,
And if you are thinking of somebody, I mean, I love that point. If you're thinking of a person, if you're thinking of that somebody, reach out to them, send them a text, let them know. Like Matt just received a text from somebody, I'm sure.
I just got some quotes I wanted to bring up.
Perfect.
That are
But
great.
let that person know you're thinking about him, or they've crossed your head. I was thinking about a person over the weekend because we went to go eat at a restaurant. There used to be a chef there. They helped me out in the past. I was like, man, I haven't seen that person in a while. They died in an accident this week. No, it wasn't this weekend. It wasn't somebody I was close to, but somebody I know.
Yeah.
Somebody that's kind of through family, and they passed away Sunday. It's like, never again. I was thinking of that person. I should have reached out that day.
Well, and that's the thing. You never know when the last time you're going to get to talk to somebody.
And we're so engulfed and like you said, you were only thinking about you, that you're not thinking about other people thinking about you.
Yeah.
For that person to reach out to me that night, don't drink and drive.
Yeah. Someone's watching.
Someone's watching. Of course, my mom's always thinking that, but
Well, that's mom's job.
Yeah, that's mom's job. And Stacy, my wife's always thinking that. But reach out to that person, and if you're just thinking that nobody is thinking about you, man, like I think that we can save lives. Lives have been saved by that one text of "I'm thinking about you." The check-ins, the little deposits, within the business world. That's what they say. That's how you get to keep your clients for forever.
Yeah.
Pop buys, drop-ins, check-ins. How's the family? Happy birthday, happy anniversary. And that's the beauty of at least social media is that.
Right.
The big audience or group that I have on there, I'd never miss their birthdays, their anniversaries, and their highlights. Yes, even though social media is just highlights, what a great time to at least just check in with them and let them know you're still.
Yeah.
And you are thinking of them, you're seeing them.
And that's another conversation I had last week with somebody was, that balance of social media, I don't do it because I don't have control over it. I thought I did, and I kept trying to tell myself I did, but 15-minute puppy video after 15-minute puppy video, and now an hour's gone by and I've done nothing productive with my time. That's a problem, okay? And if it's puppy videos, you can probably justify that. Like, I'm not hurting nobody. You're hurting your time. I'm getting nothing out of this outside of maybe a few tears or, watching the baby transition with the puppy as they both grow, all those videos you guys have seen. I just know that I don't have the willpower to stay disciplined with it. So I just don't do it. I'll go back and check. Somebody texted me the other day, had a client in the other day, and she was like, oh my gosh, it was so nice what Rod Smith said about you the other day. I was like, when was this? She's like, oh, he said it on Facebook. I was like, oh. So I re-download the app, and I still have my account just because I need to try sometimes get in touch with people. So I re-download the app on my phone. I open it up, see the post, very nice, make a quick comment on it, and I'm out. Delete the app, we're gone. And that's just how I have to do it. But again, that word balance is huge, okay? If you can manage a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, that's not the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I'm talking about you hate texting people on social media because whatever stupid reason it might be. Or you're doom scrolling. You're scrolling for hours. You're doing it before bed. Then you sleep like shit. Now you're pissed off because you didn't get good sleep last night. And then so on that process goes for, a week of that, 6 months of that, a year of just, you're going to be miserable. Okay. You're going to be resenting the thing that you can't stop scrolling through. And I don't have that willpower. I don't have that discipline with it. So I just don't do it. Same reason why I don't have unhealthy shit in my house, because I don't have the willpower to have one cookie. I'll have all of the cookies, and then I'll feel like an asshole because I ate 32 cookies in one sitting, or in the day I bought them. I can't do that, so I just don't have it in my house. I make concessions with myself. I make a deal with myself, So that's the reason why. Like if you do see me out and I'm eating and I'm off my diet, I don't eat out a lot. I just don't. We do birthdays, for my family birthdays, we'll go out. So there's maybe 5 or 6 of those. A lot of them we kind of do together because they're close. But again, on those days, I will splurge. I will have dessert or I will do something outside of that. But that's because everything I do in between birthday to birthday is nothing but discipline and hard work. So that's my reward. So I enjoy that one night of that one meal that, yes, I probably overindulge. I eat too much, and not the best of things to eat. But again, if I'm only doing that 5 days out of the year and I'm good for 360 days, I'm good with that. I can lay my head up on the pillow at night and not hate myself because of that, But again, I use it as a reward. All that work until the next birthday, this is why we're doing it.
And that's what works for Matt.
Yes. So again,
That's how
if you have
disciplined Matt
willpower
has
and
to
you don't
be.
have addictive personality traits like somebody does in here, do what you got to do. But again, I don't know you. You know you better than anybody. So you got to be the one to make those decisions. It's not your mom. It's not your dad. It's not your kids. You have to be the one to make that decision, And if it's something you want to do to get better at life, why not? If everything else you've been doing hasn't been working, change it up. Try something different, But yeah, so those are huge because I just feel like people can really, if you put it in a perspective of somehow you can relate it to something. Like I was showing some squats the other day with a client and she just could not understand the words that I was saying. So she went home that night. She's like, man, I was trying to explain what we were doing to my husband and he said something that just totally made everything click. She's like, oh, you mean like kind of like a catcher's stance, like a baseball catcher. Oh my gosh, that's 100%
I used to play that back in the day.
But again, so once you can visualize something and relate it to, your life and how it can impact that, those visuals help, because there's a lot of times I hear people talk and they say a lot of big words and sometimes I need to slow it down, put it in rewind, or if there's a visual that goes with it that can help kind of piece those words into making sense up here, So that being said, we do have our little quotes that I found here.
Yeah.
So we've got 5 of these, okay? And these are just kind of thinking outside the box type of thoughts here. So first one.
Let's hit them.
How can I blame the wind for the mess it made if it was me who opened the window? So if you invited the wind in and it made a mess of your house, who's to blame?
100% responsible for opening the window.
That is an unknown artist, author. Now, this one here was pretty good. Not my favorite, but it's definitely makes sense. The road to hell feels like heaven.
Ooh.
The road to heaven often feels like hell.
I agree with both of those.
Yes, because the road to heaven is straight and narrow, where the road to hell is wide
An instant.
and instant. So the instant gratification, the instant buzz, the instant dopamine hits, it doesn't last. Does not last. All right, next up, look at your wardrobe, your routines, your meals, your home. Ask yourself if they reflect the person you want to be. If not, start editing. This is my favorite. Laziness kills consistency. Comfort kills consistency. Doubt kills consistency. Fear kills consistency. Now, let's read that back, but this time right to left. Consistency kills laziness. Consistency kills comfort. Consistency kills doubt. Consistency kills fear. Hits different, don't it? Lastly, imagine reading a book with no way to turn back the page. How carefully would you read it? You know why?
That's life.
Because that's life.
Thank you for watching episode 40. There's not. What else could we say?
Well, I got a follow-up because
Yeah.
I had a foxhole brother of mine that reached out last week, and we usually get together once every week, 2 weeks, pretty regularly. His schedule has been flipped upside down, so basically his normal schedule that he's used to with his routines, he had 12 weeks where he had to do basically a different lifestyle in terms of the hours he's awake, the hours he's asleep, all that stuff. So he finally he had a 12-week stint to that. So we finally got done, finally reached back out to me. He's like, hey, we need to get together now. Like not yesterday, not tomorrow, now. Like I'm hurting, I'm struggling. So I said, all right, let's do it. So we meet up, and we're supposed to meet at 9, and he texts me about 8:55. He said, hey, would you mind if we did 9:20? I said, that's fine. So anyways, I get to where we're going, and it's 9:20, 9:25, 9:30, 9:35, and now I'm getting irritated because I don't care if he's late. My thing is, if you say a time, just be there. He could have said 9:45. I would have been there too. But again, I was getting irritated, and then I see him walk in, and I took one look at him. I'm like, you weren't kidding. You are struggling. And I could tell that within like 2 seconds of looking at his person that was standing in front of me. I was like, dude, what is going on? And he sits down, and it's just anxious, anxiety, just wound up tighter than a drum, this, that, the other thing. He needed to feed the meter, but he didn't have any quarters. Now he's got $1 in his hand. Like, what are you doing with the $1? He's like, that's another thing. I got to get 4 quarters so I can feed the meter and this and that. I was like, okay, first off, calm down, okay? Go get 4 quarters from that nice lady at the register. Go put a quarter in your meter. I go, and when you get to the door, I was like, I want you to take a nice, long, deep breath and let it all out, because you are wound up, like your traps are tickling your earlobes. You're so tense. Like, so anyways, he did that, comes back. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Because I had 3 questions off the top of my head whenever I saw him. I'm like, what's your sleep been like? How much are you drinking? And what have you been doing for yourself in terms of exercise? Because I already know the answers, but this is more of a hyperbole question. And every single thing I said was completely effed up, in his usual routine. So this is a firefighter schedule, so you got to think, what do they do? 48 on, 48 off, or something along those lines, where they're on for 2 days straight and then they're off for a period of time. Well, then he got asked to run the training academy that they've started here in Jeff City. So that's a 12-week program. And he's the first one to run that program, and he's got to stay with them all 12 weeks. So he's done with that now. So transitioning back to his old firefighting schedule, he's snagged. He caught a snag.
Wow.
He can't get his routines going.
Wow.
So something as simple as that. I mean, this guy's wound up like me, so we have to do these things every day to keep our sanity. Like, and if you don't believe that, you don't know the type of people that I'm around. I guarantee you know people like that. They just don't talk about it, because it's a very awkward feeling when you're just that anxious and your head just never stops. So I was like, dude, did you guys at least get to enjoy the holiday, Memorial Day weekend? He's like, oh, we were down at the lake. And he's like, they bought this cabin. And he's like, I didn't enjoy a single minute being down there. I was like, dude, why not? Well, we got this, we got to buy this, we got to fix that. And I was like, well, dude, we talked about this when you were talking about buying that cabin. Like, are you ready for all the things that go with that?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you're not, because nobody truly is, but like, it ain't going to be a walk in the park, especially if it's a fixer-upper or whatever. It's an investment, So I was like, well, dude, let me ask you this. I was like, so you're so you had 12 weeks where you got to do an 8 to 5, take the kids to practice, pick them up from practice, all the stuff you never get to do. I was like, and you're telling me through that whole time, like, you didn't enjoy yourself at all? Like, you didn't enjoy getting to spend that? He's like, not like I should have. I should have just cherished those times, And then he's like, my sleep. Reason why I asked if we could go later, he's like, I didn't wake up till 8:55. He's like, I couldn't tell you the last time that happened. I was like, he's like, usually if I sleep past 6 a.m., like, that's a good day. Like, I'm slept in, And I was like, well, dude, maybe you just needed that sleep. He's like, oh, I'll tell you why. He's like, guess what time I went to bed last night? Like 3:30. I'm like, in the morning? He's like, yeah. I go, what were you doing? He's like, couldn't shut it off. Couldn't shut it off. And guess what I did on top of that?
I feel for that, man.
I had a few more beers. Kids are asleep. Wife's asleep. I'm not bothering anybody. And here I am. I go, well, dude, meaning this with all due respect, you look like shit. Like, this is a clean shaven. Like, I've never seen him with like a 3-day no shave. Like, it was like, who are you? Dang. And I was like, well, dude, here's the deal. You're in this moment right now. You're telling me what's going on. You know the things that are not in sync. I was like, so you have a decision to make right now. I was like, you've already done the hard part. You've admitted what's going on. Okay, so it's out there in the universe. What you do with that, you got a choice. You know, I go, and you don't need to make it complicated. It's either a yes or a no. Are you going to go do your full firefighter, workout gear where you're doing, carrying hoses and doing flights of steps with all your firefighting gear on? Like, you have to do that every day, dude. Like, that's how you keep this shit between the mayo and the mustard. Because if not, you start swerving and we start getting real rambunctious. And so, yeah, all the things. He wasn't getting any sleep. He was drinking more than he has in years probably. And he wasn't taking care of himself. So those are just 3 indicators. And this, like I said, I saw him within 10 seconds and I knew exactly what was going on without even having to ask. I let him talk and let him get it out because that helps the process of just unloading.
And hearing it, yeah.
Because it had been at least 3 months since we'd gotten to sit down.
Oh
and we were doing this
3 months?
every week or every other week, pretty regularly. So again, those foxhole people are super important. I wasn't judging. I wasn't there to judge. I wasn't there to point fingers at him and tell him, this and that. It was, I want to get my buddy back on the straight and narrow because this is unlike him, So if you don't address those things in that moment, what if something happens tomorrow where I don't get a chance to talk deeper with him or to talk more about him about those things, So if you're having that feeling, or like, man, I've been thinking about my buddy Bill a lot lately. I don't know why. Send him a text message. Call him. Like, there's a reason why a name, a person, or someone is just running through your head. And usually when you call or text or whatever, a lot of times I've had that feeling. I always get a, man, I really needed to hear from you. Or like, man, thank you so much for doing, like, whatever it is. But again, it's a 30-second text message. Mm-hmm. It's a, it's a phone call with a voicemail if they don't answer.
You'll save somebody's life, and prayers to your buddy, man. At least get it out, and hopefully he's back on track.
I followed up with him the next 3 days in a row, so he's doing a lot better. I just texted him yesterday, and I said, "How you doing, brother?" He said, "I'm doing great. Back on the routines, getting things dialed back in." Mm-hmm. I said, "I'm so glad to hear that, dude. That warms my heart to know that. But just know that it doesn't have to go 12 weeks next time. Like, my phone is always on.
Yeah.
Call me, text me. I'll come to the fire state. Like, I don't, whatever you need, I'll do it. But I don't read mine, so I don't know where you're at, unless you tell me, hey, I'm struggling, So, again, check on those people. Now, this is again, one of my foxhole people. So this is my 5 dudes that, if I'm needing to get rid of a body, I know who I'm calling. It's those 5 guys, Not saying that's going to happen or has happened, but you guys get the analogy.
It's just to say.
Yeah, it's something they said a lot in the 70s. So, keep those guys close. We don't judge one another. We've been around. We've seen all the stupid shit we've all done throughout our life, and we're not here to judge about it. We're here to keep everybody alive, present, optimizing at their best, and just love one another. And that's huge for us.
And that's huge for your buddy to open up like that. That's just, you never know what you're going. Someone's going through, but you kind of have an idea.
He was giving me some signs, and I just wasn't taking them as serious as I should have, because I'm like, oh, he's 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. He's got a normal schedule. He's got to be loving this, That's what I get for assuming anything.
Yeah.
So again, I could have reached out sooner. I could have made it a more serious effort, but I didn't realize it was as bad as it was, and he was, I look back at my texts, and there were little texts throughout those 12 weeks, just kind of hinting without saying it,
Yeah.
And I just overlooked it. So.
No, and those signs are there. They're happening right in front of us. And we see them, we ignore them. We see them, we ignore them. I lost a buddy. I saw the signs. Maybe he would still be alive. I don't know.
Yeah.
I should have said something. I should have let him know I was thinking about him. I should have asked, because then maybe they would have opened up about it.
If we ask and they say, "How you doing, man?" Fine.
There's your
answer. There's your answer.
There's the first
Anyone
sign.
that says that they're fine is not fine. Mm-hmm. If someone is doing great, they'll say, "I'm great." Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll say, "I'm effing great." Life is wonderful. Kids are great, getting big. My wife's awesome. Great relationship with mom and my sister, whatever it is. Those short little answers like that that does not mean what they say.
And one thing I've changed with my greetings with people, instead of, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Or, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Fine, good. Hi, good. I'm great. Da, da, da. I ran into somebody yesterday and I said, hey, great to see you. And then she's like, I'm doing fine. We're programmed. Yeah. We're programmed to just like, how are you? How are you? I'm like, great to see you. What's up? What are you buying at Sam's Club today? Great to see you. Oh, toilet paper. That's what I'm here for.
Right on.
But change your greeting. Really, really care. Really be there. There's nothing more priceless than the present. Jacob was listening to a song this weekend, and it said something about there's nothing more valuable than the present, than this moment now. And settle down. I heard it on watching the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. We started watching that, but at the end of have you seen that movie? Trying to find his dad and figuring out his relationship with his dad. At the end is a Cat Stevens song, Father and Son. Heard it for the first time until I went to read it, and then I finally heard it, and it says, "Find a girl, settle down," and just that sentence, like the settling down. I finally heard it where my dad was just like, quit doing all these things.
Yeah.
Like those are just headaches. Quit asking for more headaches. And that reminded me of the cabin, the lake house, another bathroom, more bed sheets, washer and dryer, landscaping, don't drown kids, the boat dock. Oh my God, that's I thought about that.
How many additional check marks do you have to add to your already busy life?
To lay in bed and then just think about that, and then there's a tornado, or the lake freezes over, and then the ice pulls your dock off your house, like never ending. But this last 2 weeks, just the settle down part, and I even had Jacob like read the lyrics, and I was just like, he's pitching yesterday. He started pitching, and you could just see when these poor 10-year-old boys, 9-year-old boys, just like get frustrated because they just want to throw a no-hitter.
Yeah.
I have to pitch a no-hitter. It's like, no, you have this team behind you. They're there to help you. Throw the good pitch. If it gets popped up in the air, then it's your buddy's fault if they didn't catch it.
Yeah.
But they're there to help you.
It's like, hey, dude, if it was just you versus this other team, yes, a no-hitter is very important to throw. Okay, but you got 8 other dudes out here with you to help back you up in case you don't throw a no-hitter.
And they'll hear it at practice. They'll hear it until like 5 years from now. Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. But at least I'm going to continue to be consistent.
Yeah.
And prepare them. And then just don't forget to breathe and settle down.
Yeah.
Because even like the studying or watching the F1 racers, the MotoGP racers, the boat racers, like when everything goes faster, it all slows down.
Yep.
That's how fast those insane brains have to go to slow down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and people don't think that that's like a physically demanding sport. Like when you're so locked in mentally, like you are so like, I heard there was this, Tucker Carlson had like an 18-wheel driver on his podcast most recently. And this dude
That's an interesting host or guest.
Yeah, I know. I learned a lot about an industry I had no idea about, but it was very interesting. But because he was just asking random stuff. It's like, what's the toughest like routes that you've done? There's coast to coast drivers. There's people that stay more locally, or people that only haul certain equipment, or like they won't haul this, but they'll haul that. So like, what's like the toughest one? He's like, it's got to be how tough is it doing the Alaskan ice road highway, up there where, he goes, honestly, he's like, that's the safest place you can be on an 18-wheeler.
Because there's nobody's around.
It's like, there's nobody. He's like, they have these roads taken care of. Like, there's crews working on them all the time. So like, they have 100-foot wide lane with no one else on there besides you going 15 miles an hour for God knows how many miles. He's like, that's the safest place you can be. Like, if you're like, people get that misconstrued because they're like, oh boy. He's like, it's boring, it's slow. He's like, but I mean, you talking about getting some of those mountain passes and like the Rockies and some of those.
Or Highway
like
70 from St. Louis to Kansas City.
He mentioned I-70, but in Denver. But I-70 did get a shout out. And
shout out to I-70.
Shout out I-70. But no, he goes, you don't realize when you're so like, if I'm going downhill in the mountains and there's fucking cars just, zooming past and doing this and whatever, he's like, you're so like physically locked in and mentally just like, okay, going around this turn, what's the next? Okay, I got one guy in front, one on my left, two behind. Like, okay, if I do a blowout, I'm going to have to, okay, there's an emergency exit lane for 18 wheelers here in case I blow it. Like, you're constantly running through just scenario after scenario after scenario for 8 hours at a time, 10 hours at a time, 20 hours, however long they're able to drive. But yeah, it's a very mentally and physically draining experience. Like, you burn calories with mind power as well as physical activity and sweat, so something to think about as well. But yeah, it was a very interesting podcast. I can't remember why we got on that topic, but
just like the pros. I mean, those are the pros. A F1 driver will lose between 10 to 15 pounds in a race.
Oh yeah.
They get the weigh-in before and after, and then there's those G's and being focused for that long. These are professional. There's a reason we watch, and they get paid that much because they're signing up to, it's life or death every race.
Die, yeah.
Every time you drive, it's life or death, and I mean it's just life. You're just one decision from making it simpler for yourself. One step away from being consistent.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing I like that's kind of stuck with me that you said was your pops talking about, like, just get away from the chaos.
Keep it simple.
Like, simple and like quiet is okay. Like, there is actually nothing wrong with that, which me growing up, I was the exact opposite. I was trying to get all the things, the flashy stuff, the fancy stuff, the pretty girl, the this and the that. And it's like, man, I was just totally misconstrued on what I thought was important. Turns out it's none of those things that I was looking for that's brought me happiness. It's being content with being in my house. I had a hard time doing that when I first got sober because of a previous relationship that I was in with somebody that remodeled the house together and stuff. So every time I come home, I would just think about that, and it would just force me to drink. So now I'm content with being in my house, hanging out with my dog. My day's over with. I'm done working here. I would be the first person at happy hour. I'd be the first person to head up the social meeting with the boys after work or whatever it was, and got nothing out of it. Nothing out of it but headaches, hangovers, and money lost, that might as well just set on fire. So just being able to be content with who I am, where I'm at today, having fun with my dog, having fun being at home, enjoying not living in that chaos. Because like whenever I was out partying and drinking, I lived in chaos all the time, and it is exhausting. So exhausting. Like,
yeah. We didn't get any sleep in our 20s.
No, and just looking back, just how my body
on purpose,
my body is still like in
purpose.
one piece. Like, I have no idea, because I would I was telling somebody this the other day, like whenever all my buddies from college were getting married, it was always a Vegas bachelor party. Well, those guys would take off. They had jobs where they could take off on a Friday, take off on a Monday, just have a good time, take the time getting back, getting out there. Me, I'm working till Friday night till 6:30, and then I'm driving straight to St. Louis to jump on a 10 o'clock flight to get out to Vegas with the time change, 11 o'clock at night, hitting my buddy up, getting the room key, throwing my bag in there and go catching up with them, and literally not sleeping for 48 straight hours. And then as the night on the second day, the 48-hour part of it was ending, and those guys were going back to the hotel, I was taking the red eye to fly back home, and then I'm landing, driving straight home, and then I was back at work Monday morning, And I did that for a long time, and it was just, had to have taken years off my life. It had to have. So.
And there's stages in our life too, like a buddies of mine, like, okay, you're in that stage right now.
Yeah.
You're in that stage right now. Okay, it's hard to really understand. Just keep it simple, because that was the biggest fight with my dad. To keep it simple. No, Dad, like, you're supposed to be an entrepreneur. You're supposed to be flipping houses and buying things. And then he was like, no, I don't want a house. Like, I just want to rent.
It's good to be in debt. It's good to be in all the debt you can. It's good to take on all the debt you can.
The book said, get in debt, But I had the correct mentors that I learned from and watched them do it. But it took me all these years. So he's like, just take care of your kids and keep it simple.
Yeah.
I go see him now, where he's at, and it's just like, I get it.
Yeah.
I finally got it.
I'm so sorry I was so stubborn for so long.
I finally got what you meant. but I'm still buying houses.
Well, here's the
I'm
deal.
not gonna stop buying though.
Yeah, but here's the deal. You have to go through those phases
Yes.
to understand. You know,
Yeah.
nobody, not many people in life can read a book or listen to some advice and take it with 100% belief and truth and not questioning anything. You know, it's just one of those things that you have to almost experience that failure or that loss or that, whatever, that setback or whatever it is that those people that are wiser in years and age and wisdom that try and make it easy for that next generation coming up, but we're just stubborn. So as much as you hate hearing what your parents have to say, there's going to be a point
They
in your
have
day
experience
where all of that shit clicks. Because I know exactly where I was whenever I was 25 or 22 years old, and then at 25, like, oh, that's what he was talking about. 30, that's what he was talking about. Again, take it or leave it. But again, if you just take some of that advice and take more belief in it or actually look into it deeper than just surface level, there is more to it. So
and learning is never ending, training yourself. And I know some 50, 60, 70 very wealthy people that are still paying $250,000 for coaching, learning and getting there on your brain, because there's the guys who were hanging out with at golf, they were like, hey, why is this guy still being invited? We're in our 40s and he's still acting like we're 20s. Like we're in our 20s, like we're here and he hasn't left this part. Why do we keep inviting him? He's like, one of the buddies, like, I have to keep him close so he can stay alive, pretty much. Barely keep him alive, but some people get it, some people don't. Some people want to get it, some people don't want to get it.
Yeah. And again, it's knowing where people are at in this moment. Some people are in a good place, some people aren't, and that's okay. We've got to go through the ups and the downs, kind of see where we're at, but again, listen to those people that are close to you, if they're hinting or mentioning or doing something, that seems off, or maybe they're trying to suggest some things to you or hinting some things at you that,
It's just because they've seen a sign.
Yeah.
They've seen a sign, and please reach out to those people
And
once you've seen a sign.
Yes, and here's the thing, like if I would get critiqued while I was still drinking, I would instantly go to anger and being pissed off at whoever that person was. How dare you? Who do you think you are? That anger was coming from me not knowing how to process what was being told to me that was honest and truthful. I heard it. It wasn't one of those things you can just push down and never bring it up again, because I had somebody standing in front of me in that moment. And
Your anger button goes.
And unfortunately, it was usually my mom, my dad, or
your
people
loved
I
ones.
care about, and I would blow up on them, which my cross to bear. I had to deal with it. I'm the one that did it. But, looking back now, all that stuff was them trying to help me. And I was just too caught up in myself, too stubborn, too narcissistic to see anything past my nose, and believe it. So if you find yourself, getting angry or reverting to like very extreme emotions, left, right, up, down, whatever, when people are trying to give you advice, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, those people just care about you. And those people want to see you do well, and they don't like seeing you falling face down over and over and over and over again. It gets to a point where eventually they're going to have to cut ties with you because, like you said about your buddy, like, man, how long are we keeping this guy around? He's still acting like a 20-year-old just all over the place. And right now you guys are keeping him around, but if he doesn't change and he's just dragging you guys down, you almost have to cut ties with people that are going to, because if you got the drowning man and you're trying to save him and yet he drowns both of you, what'd you gain? You know what I mean? So again, just go through your life. See all your friends that you talk to, the people you hang out with. How many of those people are bringing positive energy to that relationship? How many of your buddies bring you up every day you see them? Or maybe they need to be brought up whenever you see them sometimes. And then we know those people that I don't like hanging around. The negatives, the people that are just sucking your energy, sucking all the good that you have in you.
Judgmental people
Yes.
that just talk.
You have to get away from those people. And unfortunately, most of those people come from your family or whatever, an in-law, someone that you can't just truly cut away,
In-laws.
In that case, it is up to you, the listener, me, the person that's struggling with this. you're going to have that uncomfortable conversation and set those healthy boundaries, because those people do not respect boundaries. They've never been told about boundaries, and they don't like playing by the boundary rules. So whenever you put your foot down and you tell them that this is how it's going to go, and if it's not something that you can adhere to, I'll see you later. And it's as simple as that. Now, that's hard as shit to do the first time, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, you know? And I can tell within like the first couple minutes of meeting somebody if I'm getting good vibes or if I'm getting bad vibes. Because if it's good vibes, let's go. If it's bad vibes, see you later.
And it's taking experience.
Yes.
To kind of get,
Yes.
or just finally realizing.
Just opening your eyes.
Just opening.
You know, you keep hanging out with the same shitty people and you keep getting shitty outcomes. Like, what? Again, that's the definition of insanity. You know, surround yourself with people that are good people. You know, people that want better for themselves, that want better for you, that want better for everybody that's around them. You know, and that's the approach I take today. You know, I love it. I love always having a purpose, always having a goal. You know, it's not like I'm done here. All right, well, mental health has been conquered today, bro. We can go back to doing what we were doing. I know that's never going to be the case. So I know that my job's never going to be done till I'm dead, you know, and knowing that that job's never going to be done, I don't look for the break in the near, you know, in the sunset over the horizon. They're like, oh, it's so close. We can almost, no. I ain't dead, so I know we're not close.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just the message I try and walk through today.
There's the message.
There's the message. Okay.
Thank you for watching our 40th. Congratulations on your 40th podcast, sir.
Same to you.
That's a huge accomplishment and keeping me consistent.
That's right.
Woo.
Now, last thing, how many of you guys listening, we were talking about this before the podcast, how many of you all listening
Here's the bonus.
noticed Gerardo's hat? Because he was freaking out before we started. I was like, dude, I didn't even pay attention to what was on your hat until you said you brought attention to it.
Things that I pay attention to.
He was afraid that we would be sending the wrong message with him having a
I think it's
a
an old
glass-
fashioned with a 19th hole
with a
flag.
glass and a cube, not a cube,
And some
a
brown
round,
liquid.
a round ball, and maybe a Pepsi.
Yeah.
Gerardo's the one that thought it
I'm
was
drinking a
alcohol.
Pepsi at the 19th hole. That's what I'm promoting on this podcast.
That's right. So if anybody noticed it, let us know. Gerardo was freaking out about it.
I will
said,
never wear
didn't-
this hat again.
I didn't pay any attention until you brought it to my attention.
I just
So
wanted a
that's
good
on
golf
you.
hat that was. It cost $1.99. Shout out to the store in Tipton that I
There
got
you
it
go,
to.
Tipton.
Yeah, $1.99 hat, man. It's good for golf.
It's a good hat.
Yeah,
Nice and white.
Yeah, but thank you guys for watching. Great message today.
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking.
Just be content with where you're at right now. And today, knowing where you're at, you've got a choice.
And make sure you are content. Not those person, that person. Make sure you are content.
Yep. Only person needs to be content is yourself, and then build it out outside of that afterwards.
Thank you for watching the Not So Perfect Podcast, episode 40th.
Until next time.
Adios. Peace.